Hi everyone, I hope you had a great weekend. Tonight my guest is Karen Wazen. I'm very excited. Karen she has a very big following on Instagram and on TikTok and you name it. She has million followers, but also she created her eyewear brand in 2018, and she most recently created an investment fund to help other entrepreneurs. So I'm sure you'll all enjoy hearing about Karen's life, um, and you'll be able to ask her questions mostly at the end of this conversation. Hi Kevin, hi everyone. Let's see if Karen is here. Welcome, welcome everyone. So yes, feel free to put your questions for Karen in comments, and we'll try to answer them. Hey everyone. Hey Karen, she's here. Coucou Astrid. Super fan from Sister. Hello,
Hi,
how are you?
great, and you?
Thank you so much. I'm
I'm
so happy to have you as a guest.
same here. I've been on videos, so for me to be on it now, right now, makes me super happy.
Wow, thank you. And we have to thank our friend Gary who
Yeah,
introduced us.
I hope
Um,
you're watching.
yes, if he's not here, he'll hear from us. Anyway, let's jump right in. Thanks a lot. It's 9 p.m. in Dubai. Are the kids asleep?
Just now, and I actually told them because they were giving me a hard time to go to sleep. I told them like I have a life. I actually have a life, so please go to bed. They're like, but what does that mean? They just wanted to like talk even longer. I'm like, I'll tell you later. Go to sleep. So yeah, now
So they might join us actually,
I
right? They
might see
might.
in here.
So I'm very curious about your beginnings, Karen, because as I mentioned in the introduction, you have a huge following. I even don't count on Instagram. It's 7.9 million followers, but you have also millions on TikTok and other platforms. Wow, how did it all started?
So, I mean, I'm very, very grateful for my, all the communities that I have across the social media platforms. To me, it's a lot more than just, the number. And it really all happened very organically. And it was nothing that I really planned for, at least the start of it. So I was
Mm-hmm.
always people's person. So even growing up, I had, a lot of friends. I was very sociable. I love to listen to people. I love to speak to people, and I love to share with people. So I was always someone very open to share. I would be very, open, vulnerable with my closest, and even someone that, I just met, if I felt that sharing my vulnerability could help in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So when social media really started, and at the same time, I have to say also, I was always into like fashion. I love fashion magazines. I love photography. So really the platform combined three of my passions, if you want, which was fashion, photography, and people. So I
Mm.
it's really just for fun, if you want, as a hobby. But I did take it seriously from the start. So, when you just start something and then I gave it a little bit more kind of love or attention than my friends did.
Mm-hmm.
But again, not ever thinking that this would ever turn into what it is today, whether it is building a business or whether it is even being known by people who I don't personally know. So
Mm.
it just like that, me sharing, me building this community little by little, me being very invested. I have to say I was very invested. I cared a lot about my comments, about the people. I cared that I was sharing something that my audience connected with. And then, I really try as much as I can to show the truest self throughout my journey, because as people, we grow, we change. And as I develop as a human, I always kind of shared that to my audience, and they've grown with me. So they've connected with me. They've seen my struggles. They've seen the good sides. They've seen it all, really. Like they know when they probably remember more than me when my son started walking, or when he lost his first tooth, or, they've been really all. So it's really, and I
It's
reflect.
it's funny because as a preparation, I have to tell our friends here that you were very spontaneous. You were like, no, let's wing it. We are not going to prepare it. We have to keep the spontaneity. I was like, yeah, sure. But anyway.
I think this is the way you connect best, you know? So I just want, you know, my audience, who I will have to say hi to, by the way. Hi, guys. Hi, who's here. I forgot that it's not just your audience, it's also mine. And I just want to say one thing to my Arabic speaking audience as well. بعتذر انه هيدا اللايف منه بالعربي. ان شاء الله شي مرة تانية نعمل لايف بالعربي، بس اذا عم تسمعوا وحابين تتسمعوا رح يكون بالانجليزي و yeah. Just
What
like,
did you say, Karen?
very about you.
Bad mouthing me.
Live is actually going to be in English.
Okay.
So for my
yes, unfortunately, I don't speak a word of Arabic, so I wouldn't be able to. But yeah, I was saying I watched this interview of you and your husband, and you both of you answered very candidly, very honestly. And anyway, your husband was saying that before social media existed, you were taking photos all the time on vacation, and you even had a tripod to take good photos and to take selfies, etc. before social media.
Yeah. You want to laugh actually? So I used to love taking photos, and my dad is actually a very handy man. So he loves to like create stuff. So I remember at some point I went back to my dad and I told him, I'm like, I have a really good idea. This was years ago. I told him, do you think you can create something for me that is like an extended arm, basically, where I can take a selfie, but have more like depth? So in a way where it's like technically the selfie stick. This literally 10 years ago. And I had told him, I know. And then I told him, I'm like, Pop did it. We should have done it.
You could have been reached. I mean, launching this product for a wider audience, it would have been a business itself, right? You were a visionary.
This is how I think it just happens, where you feel something and then you just, you know, do it. I mean, this case, I didn't do it, but I mean, yeah, it's also, speaking of photos, we used to travel a lot, my husband and I, because we were in a long distance relationship. I was living in London, he was living in Dubai, and we met in London and then traveled a little bit everywhere. And I loved like documenting, you know, our memories, our journey together. So I have a lot of photos of us, and this is prior to Instagram, so there was no social media at the time. If you want, or like I used to create albums. I don't do this anymore, and he always tells me like, you used to do so much more for me before, but I used to create all these books of all our trips, which is technically like albums on Instagram today. So
yeah, so it was you were very happy when Instagram was born, basically.
Sure.
And is there a moment, do you recall a moment when you were like, oh, okay, this is happening, this is becoming very serious, this is becoming a big business? Or a business, not even a big business, but maybe a aha moment when you thought it could be more than just fun?
Kind of maybe 3 moments where I felt, I mean, at least in the start, where I felt like, okay, this is something real. My first time was my first ever meet and greet. So a brand that I collaborated with asked me to do a meet and greet at a mall. And nervous because I've never done anything like that. And I was so nervous that no one would show up because I wasn't understanding why someone who doesn't know me would want to come and see me at a mall. And I remember walking in, I was pregnant at the time, and I saw people waiting for me, and they were like smiling, and I was looking, I'm like, is this for me, or
is there someone behind me they're smiling at?
So that was like, you know, when you see them in real life and not just behind the screen, or, you know, or just not like account handles, I'm like, wow, this is real. You know, I actually have real, beautiful people following me, listening to me. And I really did feel a sense of responsibility there, because I remember I was sharing a lot about my pregnancy as well. And they were asking me lots of questions. I remember about that and my journey and giving birth. And I'm like, well, I can't say anything that's, you know, might be misinterpreted, or something that might, you know, I don't know, be a good experience for me, but eventually be something bad for someone else. So this was a very key moment. Another for me, when I gave birth to my daughters, I can say that this is when I felt there was a big kind of jump in my following. So I think as well, like as an Arab woman at the time, in our culture, it's not super common to share so much, you know? So I was very, like I told you, I've always been someone who shares, and I shared a lot, you know, of my pregnancy. I shared, you know, a photo of me and my daughters at the hospital when we gave birth. And that at the time, I mean, now we see a lot more of that. But at the time, I mean, this was 7 years ago, there wasn't much of that. And in our culture, I would say in specific. So I think that was also something that really felt that I built like a very strong and real connection with my audience then. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing a jump in my audience, and they really loved the dynamic of the family. I also had, you know, three babies. I mean, I had my daughters when my son was only 9 months old, which was,
Oh, wow.
but yeah. So they really were tuned in then, and ever since then, I mean, they like I said, they've grown with our family. They,
Mm.
I think they love my kids more than me. I have to say.
Don't say that. We
No,
love
I
you all.
hear that. It makes me happy because, you know, they're the people that matter to me the most. So I want them to be loved.
And you said that you're very, I think one of your specificities is that you're very in touch with your audience. You're really making sure that you're posting what they want to see from your end. How do you do that? How do you make sure that you're always in tune with what they want?
I listen. Honestly, I think, you know, a lot of people are busy kind of talking more than listening, and I listen, and I do a lot of self-evaluation as well. I think it's important as well to mention that I have a master's in psychotherapy, and I
Mm-hmm.
therapy myself for over 2 years, where I really, really learned how to be in touch with myself, with my feelings, and to listen to my surrounding, and I think this was very key for me as a person. And getting into, you know, the world of social media, I feel a lot of people tell me, you know, you don't practice what you studied, and I say maybe technically I don't, or in theory I don't, but I really do. I use it every single day on myself. I have a very open spirit as a person. I listen to criticism very well. When it's constructive criticism that I can benefit from and grow from. I love I like I said, I really love people, and I love listening to people, and I'm also very inspired by others. So I always see what other people are doing and see how I can, you know, use something that I liked and apply it on myself. So I'm always very open, and I'm someone also who understands how important it is to adapt. We live today in a world that's super fast changing. We need to change the way we do things very often, and we need to be open to get out of our comfort zone. And this is something I have to say as a person. I feel very lucky that I was brought up in a way where my parents really pushed that on me. You know, you need to be comfortable with change. You need to be comfortable to recreate yourself. You need to be comfortable with not sticking in only one way of doing things. So I try a lot of things and I test. And if something fails or something doesn't work, I don't beat myself up for it. It's okay. Everybody, you know, does things, they test things. But if you don't test and make mistakes, you're never going to grow. You're never going to learn. So I'm okay
Mm.
with myself out there with making sometimes, you know, taking risks. Sometimes the risks are great, sometimes the risks are bad, but it's part of the process, and it's you know, part of growth.
It's funny that you mentioned your studies, your master in psychotherapy, because I wanted to get there, and also your childhood, because you grew up in London. Am I right?
So I was born in London, and I lived
Mm-hmm.
until I was maybe 4, and then I moved back to Lebanon. And the biggest part of my life, I would say, I used to live in Lebanon. I lived in Lebanon with my family there, and then I moved back to London for my master's.
Okay. And what did you dream of when you started your studies? What were you envisioning for your future? You wanted to be a psychotherapist, or you were thinking, I'm so interested in psychotherapy and I'll do that and I'll play it by ear.
Yeah, and you know, I actually don't remember what I was dreaming to be. But what I do remember is I was doing, so I have a university. I had a double major, business and psychology. So I didn't go straight away to psychology. I started off with a marketing um, bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was, she's we're super, super close. And she knows us so well. She knows us better than we know ourselves. And she put me a lot. She told me, she's like, you love people. People love you. People love listening to you. You're so good at giving people advice. And why don't you try psychotherapy? And then, you can do that simultaneously with your business degree and then see if this is something that you like. So I started taking courses and I loved it so much. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to continue this journey. So I ended up graduating with both a business degree and a psychotherapy degree. And then I continued to do my master's in psychotherapy. But to be very honest, I never visualized myself, when you like kind of manifest for the future, I
Right.
never visualized myself in a room. Even though I did that obviously as part of my master's degree, but I didn't see myself doing that in the future, sitting in a room, with my
With
client.
patience. Yeah.
So, like I said, something that I did that I grew a lot from, that I learned a lot from, but it's something that I never really saw myself doing. And it got to a point where I was, it's which is why I'm psychotherapists, I think, are really heroes, other than the fact that they, obviously help change lives, really. But it is also very draining because you are constantly exposed to people's problems. And a lot of the times, you
Yeah.
help a lot more than you're capable of helping, because you need to be with someone who also wants to help himself or herself. And if they don't, you feel helpless from your end. So it did kind of, at the end of my studies, it did a little bit take a toll on me, where I was like, I don't know if this is what I can do my whole.
And what was the transition right after your studies? You were
uh,
in London.
I was in London, and then
Mm-hmm.
I got married, and then I moved to Dubai because my husband was.
Mm.
And I went through a phase, I have to say, at the beginning, and I've spoken about this once before, but maybe my audience will hear this for the first time. I moved to Dubai, and my husband at the time was working in finance, so he had like very busy schedule, and I went through a phase where I was a bit lazy, I have to say. I wanted to work, but I didn't want to do the work to get to the work. So I
Mm-hmm.
waiting, like, okay, what am I gonna do, what am I gonna do? And my husband met me when I was studying and super active and always, kind of like a busy woman, and I was not that person when we first got married. So sometimes he would call me, he's like, so what did you do today? And I'm like, nothing, in my head, but I'm like, I don't want to tell him that I did nothing. So just like kind of like, I did research, I worked on presentations, I went to the gym, but it wasn't like real. But because I just felt like I couldn't hear myself saying that I was doing nothing. So it's crazy for me because I kind of forgot that first phase, but my parents and my sisters reminded me. They're like, remember when you went through that phase where you were so confused, you didn't know if you were ever going to work or what you wanted to do, and look at where you are now. Because today I have to say my work is such a big part of who I am, and I'm so passionate about what I do, and I love it so much, and I can't see myself one day not being invested in what I do. So, and I think the key here is doing something that you love, not just, not just to work. Sorry, obviously, sometimes there are circumstances in life where you have to work, for the money. But if you can find a way to make money out of something that you're passionate about, this is truly when I feel someone has kind of won the lottery. And I have to say, I did a lot of kind of maneuvering in the beginning. We wanted to open a lot of businesses here. I tried to open, my parents have a catering company in Lebanon. I tried to open that in Dubai. That didn't, go through because I got pregnant. And then little by little, I just started posting on Instagram. Brands started getting in touch with me. And I'm like, I like this. I was doing this out of hobby and passion, but now I can get paid for it. This is, just I felt like I want something. And
Mm.
Dubai is a very expensive city, and we have three kids, but we got them very close in age as well. So I felt there was also a lot of pressure on my husband to be the sole provider for the family. And I knew that I wanted to work. I grew up in a family where my mom has always been working. And even my grandma was always so busy working. So I knew I wanted to work. I just went through a phase, I would say, at the beginning of my marriage where I was so lost because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right. You were lost. You were not lazy, because if
Yeah,
there's one person who's not lazy, that's you.
maybe. I'm not lazy, I have to say. Now I need to remind myself that it's okay to chill, you know? You get times.
No, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
As I mentioned in the beginning, you also created your own eyewear brand in 2018. So you had started your Instagram when? Right when Instagram started, basically, right?
No, not at the beginning.
No?
I would have to say for the industry, I came in a little bit late.
Mm-hmm.
The region, I came in a bit early. So I was amongst the first in the region. I started kind of at the same time where I was maybe pregnant. So 8 years ago is
Okay.
my age. So I would say I started 8 years ago. And then again, not thinking that this would ever turn into a business, but you know, sometimes things just make sense. And I felt, you know, that I was growing on Instagram. I was growing with my audience. I was listening to my audience, like I told you. And a lot of my audience were actually asking me about my sunglasses. And I was very particular with my sunglasses. I always loved sunglasses, and it was part of something that I had with my eyes when I was younger. I did not like my eyes growing up. And
Oh, really?
yeah, I didn't.
That's funny because it's such one of your charms. You have such big eyes. So for it, it feels natural that you created sunglasses, basically.
Yeah,
We
I
can.
mean, because it's for the eyes. I mean, but initially, my love for sunglasses started off. It's so funny, actually. This was not. This. I just have sunglasses everywhere, so I just found one here. It was not supposed to be a part of this live. Um, but I started off wearing sunglasses, and I remember especially in the phase where I was like, you know, wanting to like meet someone or whatever. I felt like, oh, I don't want them to see me without sunglasses. Let's do a lunch, not a dinner. I can wear because I really was insecure in my eyes, but now I love my eyes, and I love that they differentiate me. But also, again, I grew as a person. I grew to embrace, you know, the uniqueness that I have, and to love myself as I am. But yeah, so I would wear sunglasses a lot. My following would ask me very often, where did you get them from? Where did you get these? And every time I wore sunglasses, I'm like, oh, I just wish these were a little bit, let's say, wider from here, or I wish they were in that color. Or so I'm like, you know what, I can just do my own. And we looked into it. I had the help of my husband and the help of my sister, who already had a brand for herself, Andrea, my sister, and my husband, who was, you know, more, because I never really worked before that. So I didn't have experience in the corporate world. I didn't know a lot of the skills that you learn, you know, at the corporate world to, you know, not necessarily start a business, but to run a business, I didn't have as a base. So thankfully I was well surrounded, and I was willing to take that risk. And you know, we started it, and it was so successful from the start, where I'm like, again, this was one of the moments where I'm like, wow, this is real. You know, this is not just about me posting photos anymore, but now people are actually purchasing something that has my name on it. And you know, we have to deliver in different ways now. It's not just do they like the photo or not. It's that, how is the customer service, how is the product, how are these people going to come back, are they going to, you know, and growing the business and making people not feel bored of what we've already given them. So this is another, you know, it has another side to it, the business. But it's been an amazing journey, and I'm seeing that company grow to what it is today makes me feel super proud. It's like kind of seeing my babies growing. And, you know, when I look at my kids and I'm like, oh, you know, they're so cute and smart, and I'm so proud of them. This is how I look at my brand. I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm so proud of where it's reached, because I saw how it started and how kind of small it was, and the baby steps that we took. And it's still a small company, but it definitely is, you know, going in the right direction, and we have big plans. So.
Wow, what are your plans? Can't wait to hear about your plans. Maybe a development further in the US. Are you already present in the US and in Europe?
We are through our retailers.
Mm-hmm.
So we do work with wholesalers across the world, and this is amazing. But this December, we opened our first ever our own very own retail store, so our first shop, if you like, and that was super amazing, because it was really our world, and not being part of a shop, it is our shop, you know, with our identity, our colors. And it was really, truly an amazing experience for me. I was there at the opening and just seeing people walking in. I was like, I want to see this everywhere. So definitely opening more
Mm-hmm.
for us is in our plans, expanding categories, which is something that I'm super excited about. So it is now called Karen Wazen Eyewear, but it will
Oh,
just eyewear.
breaking news. We got a scoop tonight. That's great. The
Yeah.
other categories and yeah, are you involved in the design very much? I'm sure you are.
Yes, I am. So I definitely am. I'm not a technical designer. I don't have the background for that. So sometimes a lot of people refer to me as the designer, and I think it's unfair for designers that have spent a lot of years working on technical, you know, expertise. I don't have that, but I am very much involved in the whole process. It's usually my inspiration from the beginning, and then with technical designers, we work on developing the collection. And I'm very as well involved in everything. So from receiving the samples to how I would like them edited, like changed or whatever. And yeah, I'm very involved in all sides of things. Maybe
Well,
just financials, though it's not my thing.
I hear you say, can you hear me?
I have, and yeah, even in my business, I just hate any conversation that has to do with money. So I feel like even when we're kind of, I'm talking to, let's say, a brand or whoever it is, and we're, you know, discussing what we want to do, as soon as it turns into kind of the financials, I'm like, Karen has left the chat. Like, it's uncomfortable because I don't know.
Right, it's hard. And where do you manufacture the glasses?
In Hong Kong.
Oh, in Hong Kong. Okay. I'm sure it's not easy because you know I made my own mugs. Tana,
Oh,
you need to have yours next
yeah, and
time you.
we'll do a swap.
I think I win with the swap. But anyway, just doing mugs, it was complicated. The
Yeah.
delivery, the production, so it's so many troubles for it.
And you know what I would say, a little not complicated, but what is I guess a more I would complicated part of what we do is that we're part of a schedule as well. So we drop collections and we have to follow a certain schedule. And sometimes, you know, with samples, you receive them, you want to edit them, you're not super happy with them. So you need to really anticipate the trends that are going to come and really think very much in advance. So again, it's not groundbreaking when I'm saying how, you know, designers across the world work, but for me, I'm used to working on Instagram where it's very like instant, you know, you do it now, you have it, it's out, it's done. Whereas with a, you know, with a brand or with a business, you really have to look into, you know, anticipate into the future and think of what the trends might be, and hopefully, you know, get it, nail it. So yeah, this is a bit more on the tricky side, I would say. But again, you know, with time, you learn from your previous mistakes, and we're getting.
Yeah, and I really like that it was an instant success, but it was not your first venture. As you mentioned, you worked on a catering venture in the past and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So people might think, okay, she got it, it was so successful from the beginning, but you also had other experiences before.
Yeah, for sure. And I have to say one thing, it doesn't necessarily mean if it has instant success, then it's going to forever be successful. In fact, when you have instant success, this is sometimes a little scary because you think that, oh, you know, it's easy and it's successful, so this is how it will be. But it's not the way the world works. It's not the way business works. Sustaining things, sustaining a success, I believe, is very difficult. And when you start off big already, and I was already someone with a public platform, so when I already launched my brand, I had my name, where if something went wrong with the brand, the brand was tied to my name. So if something goes wrong, that might affect my other business, which is working with brands, or my connection with my community as well, that I didn't want to obviously disappoint. So there was that. And also there is, like I said, the sustaining success or sustaining growth takes as well a lot of creativity, a lot of being in tune with what is going on with the world, a small mistake when you're bigger is a bigger mistake, but when you're small and you make a small mistake, it'll pass. So that as well is
That's
something.
so true. Yes, that is so true. The fact that you had obviously an edge with your name and with your platform, but it was also a big risk that you took.
And if you know as well, my name is, again, that could be like, it was something that we thought about a lot before, like, should we name it Karen Wazen or should I not put my name on it? Because it can go both ways, you know. I love the community that loves me, but not everybody loves me. And someone might not want to buy the glasses because it has my name on it, but they might like the glasses, for example. Or I also kind of see a little bit of a challenge. I mean, no longer today, but when I first started, that was a bit of a challenge as well because people knew me as an influencer. So it was very difficult at the beginning to kind of respect me as an entrepreneur because they were like, Karen Wazen is an influencer. She's not an entrepreneur. It doesn't mean if she has a brand that she's an entrepreneur. So I had to really build the brand up to a new kind of level or name for me to be respected as an entrepreneur. And for, if you want other celebrities or other influencers as well to feel comfortable wearing my name with them, you know. So that was something that as well was a little bit of a challenge. And you know, thankfully I would say that we worked hard.
You made the right decision by leaving your name because now both are extremely successful. And not only they're successful, but you're also helping other entrepreneurs now.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're talking about Key Partners, right?
Yes, exactly.
Key Partners is one of our latest kind of projects, is my husband and I. In fact, it's not the latest thing that we've done because my husband and I have been investing for a while. We've been investing for years now, but it's that we kind of announced our investments. And this has been a very exciting journey for me, to be honest, because it's, you know, you're kind of looking at things from the outside and adding value in a way where, you know, what you're good at. So, and it's not necessarily your business, you know, so kind of things from the outside and being a part of other people's journeys. And like you said, I think it was very important for both my husband and I to invest, not necessarily just, obviously we're investing financially, but also to invest in companies that we believe we can personally add value to. So whether it is, you know, my husband through his expertise in finance, or myself through, one, obviously building my own business, but two, also with the reach that I have and the awareness that I can create and the marketing experience, if you want, that I have through what I've built and the brands that I've worked with across the years. So it's been really amazing, and we are very dedicated to that part of our work as well. And it's nice.
How do you select the brands that you're working with? Do they come to you and they pitch you? You say, okay, give me your elevator pitch.
So yeah, now after we announced it, been a lot more receiving pitches. And actually this was one of the reasons why we wanted to announce it, was because we wanted people to know that they could approach us if they had you know, a pitch. And I think there are so many incredibly smart people with incredible ideas out there. And if we believe that, you know, if they believe that we can add value, and if we believe that we could add value, I think it's a really beautiful journey for us to continue together. But at the beginning, people didn't really know that this is what we were doing because we wouldn't really highlight it or talk about it. My husband, because he's more in that world of kind of finance and stuff, so he would get more connected, if you want, on that front. But for me, it was really, if I heard that someone, you know, was looking for an investment, we would discuss it, my husband and I would reach out and ask if they were willing to get investment. And this is kind of how it started at the beginning with the brands that with the companies that I felt interested in investing in. And then, yeah, so today we're a lot more open because we've announced it. So, and it's, yeah, like I said, it's something that both my husband and I are very invested in. And there's a project now in Dubai, which it was amazing because it's a company that we invested in right at the start. So it was it hadn't been built yet, but today it launched like a few months ago. So I took my husband and my children actually a few days ago to go and visit. It's called Aya. If you come to
Aya?
Dubai, there, yeah.
Oh, I love that. What is
It,
Aya?
um, it's it's a digital park if you want. So it's a park with a really immersive experience. It's really beautiful. I think it's amazing for content creators. It's amazing for anyone really with a family to just go and visit, and you really feel like you're transported into another world. But kind of to see and to be part of that journey from kind of start, if you want, to today where it's open has been super gratifying on a personal note.
Yeah. How many brands do you invest in? And are they all B2C brands or B2B companies as well?
And some are B2C.
Oh, okay.
Some are
And
they're both. And as well, we're not really like we're not very selective on the region, as well. So we have some investments a little bit everywhere. I personally feel that investing in the region is something that I connect with more, but we also do have investments in Africa and a little bit all over. And sorry, what did you ask me? You asked me about B2B, right?
yes.
How many we invest in. So our portfolio right now has I think 12 investments, then 12, yeah, it's been a bit.
Wow. Wow. In addition to your eyewear business. Back to the eyewear, I was thinking also the influencer brands that don't succeed, it's because the product doesn't work. Do you think it's because the product was so good that your name attached to it was actually a plus and not a minus?
I think for sure, yeah, our product is obviously the key, and people love our product. And as well, if there's something that we believe didn't resonate well with our audience or with our community or with our buyers, then we make sure to again listen to that and make sure that we don't kind of make that same mistake again. But yeah, our product is key, and we make sure that we have. Again, I put myself in the consumer's position, and I would not want to pay money on anything that I'm gonna buy and feel like, oh, I just wasted my money there. So we really make sure that we have a product that we love, good quality, the good value for the price. And I think our price point is quite reasonable. It is somewhere between a luxury item and a more on
Mm-hmm.
the fashion as well, somewhere in the middle. And compared to the quality, I would say it's a really good product. And we have a lot of our pieces. So yeah, they're trendy, but we also have a lot of pieces that are very timeless. And I see people like especially in Dubai when I walk around. Whoops, my light went off.
Mine is not working very well either, actually.
But anyway, I have to say I had this light. It was making it really hot, so I'm happy it's out.
And you look amazing without the light.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's such an amazing feeling when I'm out and I see someone wearing my glasses. It's just
Yeah, I'm sure. Can you show us your glasses? Because I'm very curious. The ones that you have on your desk right here.
They're clean.
And can I find them in Paris? Where can I find them in Paris?
So in Paris, actually, we get a lot of demand in Paris, and it is one of our really highest our online sales. We have a lot of online sales to Paris, but we're not currently stocked in Paris. So that is quite
okay.
There's an opportunity there.
For sure.
So,
and really nice, really cute.
Eras. They're part of not our latest collection, the collection before. But again, so like this is from 2 seasons ago, and I every day today. So that's what I'm saying about, it's not like you need to buy something that's like from a certain collection and then feel like, oh, it's out of style. No, I still wear glasses that I have from my first collection, and I see a lot of people. In fact, one of our best sellers is from our first collection, and it's been a carryover style. And I see so many people. In fact, today I was with I took my son to a football game, and I saw someone one of the moms there was wearing my glasses, and I didn't know her actually. It wasn't someone not one of my friends. And I went up to her and I told her, I'm like, hi, I'm Karen.
It's such a good icebreaker. You're wearing my glasses.
No, but I really feel so happy, and I wish that the brand grows beyond my name, So I want to see people that don't know who I am wearing my brand.
Can you tell us about the other categories?
I'll just tell you, I might give it away, say that, but it's within this space.
Okay,
So,
jewelry. Nice. Okay, that sounds good. Another question I have is how do you make sure that you stay healthy mentally with your phone and social media? Because I feel even at my scale, and I don't have your community for sure, I feel that I spend way too much time on social media, and it's really proven scientifically that it's an addiction. How do you maintain a balance and make sure that you're, yeah, peaceful?
I would say that I'm the best at that because I do find myself a lot of the times I just pick up my phone and for absolutely no reason find myself automatically on Instagram. So I haven't mastered a way to, like you said, it is highly addictive.
Mhm.
Uh, However, I have worked very strong on creating this kind of shield where I learned that this platform comes with a lot of noise. It comes with noise that can be beneficial but also noise that can be very distracting and very unhealthy, like you said. So kind of I've learned to really value the noise that is good and really block out the stuff that are not good for me. So whether it is following someone that I feel in fact is making me feel worse about myself than better, it's much easier than we think it is. It's just one button. And I always ask my audience as well if they feel that I am becoming kind of a negative impact on them. This is the last thing
Mhm.
that much rather that someone unfollows me than
Mhm.
follows and hate me, or that my page would make them feel worse about themselves than better. The whole point is I want to be a positive impact on people. So that I would say is an exercise that we can all exercise. And I think just really physically having to say, I'm putting this out. And I do that sometimes. And unfortunately, I do that when I'm kind of on the verge of like, okay, I feel I'm not in a good place. This is when I say I'm taking a break. However,
Mm.
my relationship with social media is definitely a lot more positive than it is negative. So I get a lot of good energy from social media. I get a lot of good energy from my audience. I get a lot of good energy from I get a lot of inspiration from social media. So when you use it, I think for in the good ways, it can be very good for you. But when it becomes toxic, this is when we have to be very fully aware of that and be like, that this is not right for me. I have a lot of my friends that take, even friends that aren't necessarily active on social media in terms of posting, but they are viewers, and they find it heavy sometimes, and they just tell me like, I'm off social media now. And I think I say good for you. It's very important to listen to yourself, to listen to your body, to your mind, and feel that when something is not right, to just say like, then get it out of the way at the moment. And I think
Mm.
exercise that we all should do, and I hope that my children as well, because today we grew up without social media, without I don't know,
Yeah, for sure. But the
I
next generation and
they
your
are,
children, yeah.
yeah, very much being part of their lifestyle. So for them to understand that there is life outside of that and how important life is outside of social media, I think is also super important. And I have to say, I'm super blessed as well with not just my family, as in my husband and my children, but I have my siblings who all live in the same, not only just the same country, but live on the same street.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, which
That's
is
so convenient.
it's so beautiful. We are super close, all of us together, and they are very, very, very important pillars in my life. And when I'm feeling down, or when I'm feeling insecure, or when I'm doubting myself, I'm with them, and they are just amazing at like, Karen, you're the best, and
I like that you're so conscious that you cannot post things on your Instagram that make people feel not so good about themselves, or you're very much aware of that.
yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, there's a fine line, because sometimes something that you feel might be inspiring might actually be taken the other way. So between us, but like I recently, changed my lifestyle. So I've been a lot more active physically. I've been eating a lot healthier, and I'm very proud of where I am today, because it was not easy for me to change my lifestyle. It was not easy for me to commit to working out. And today I look at myself, and I look at my body, and I look at my life and how I'm treating myself physically, and I'm proud. So I actually took a photo with my kids where I was a bit in a crop top, and my body kind of, I felt, I could see the progress. I can see my, my abs, and I was excited to post it because I felt proud of, my hard work, and I wanted to put the caption "Mother of Three." And then I'm like, you know what? This is making me feel proud because of the progress that I put. But I was thinking of another mother of three who might be where I was a few years ago and might see this photo, might not take it actually in a good way of feeling motivated, might in fact feel demotivated or feel
Right.
herself. So I'm like, I'm just not going to post it. And I don't know.
Wow, you're right. It's such a fine balance, a fine line. Because it's also we've been discussing it, you and me, your new lifestyle, and it's not about diet. It's more about how good you want it to feel for yourself, your
Yeah,
energy, etc. So it's fair enough that you want to share it with your audience.
yeah,
But
for sure. Think also again about being mindful of how. So I do share, when I do my workouts, I share that with them because I think that me personally motivates me when I, wake up in the morning and I go on Instagram and I see someone working out. I'm like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. This is how I usually think as a mindset. So it does motivate me. So I think that
mm,
is important to share as part of the process. And I think also I'm very vocal about how I wanted to change my eating habits because my eating habits weren't healthy. I was eating for the wrong reasons. I was eating quantities that weren't healthy for me. And again, it wasn't that I wasn't happy with myself. I was not aware. I wasn't happy with how I felt. I had such little control over my body. I felt that food was taking control over me. So if there was a plate in front of me of food, it would be much stronger than me for me to be like, I'm not going to have it now. It would be like, it's there, so I will have it. It was that kind of relationship that I had, and that would make me feel bad about myself. It would make me feel very weak and unhealthy. And I know that I am, we're so exposed today to information, and I know how important it is for, my future, how important it is for my children, how important it is for myself, for me to be, healthy. And this comes before anything, before work, before anything. And today, I think with the editing tools that we have so easily on our phones, we can forget, especially as people like us that can, public figures, we can get carried away because of peer pressure, because of social pressure, and it's handed to us. You have apps that make you look skinny in a second, and it is very, tempting and easy to use them. So again, I felt like I don't want anyone to see me on my page and think this is not the person that I'm seeing in real life. And that was, I never wanted to be that person. So when I decided to make that change, I just feel very much more empowered with myself. And that for me was a highlight, I have to say, of 2022.
wow, congratulations.
Thank you. And like I told you when we spoke on the phone, and I'll tell anyone who's listening now that if I could do it, you can do it, because I was really not that person. I just always thought that this is how I am, but it's not. This is not a characteristic of who you are. This is a behavior, and you can change that behavior.
Wow, it's very clear. I can tell you did a master in psychotherapy.
This is how I use it.
No, I'm sure you use it on a very daily basis. It's so important, everything that you learn, even for your social media and for yourself.
Absolutely.
I
I
know
do a
your husband
lot.
call it. I heard he called him self-coaching. I really like this
Yes,
self-coaching.
exactly. That's what I was gonna, I do a lot of self-reflection as well. I talk to myself a lot. I mean, if someone had a microphone in my brain, they would probably think I'm a little like, crazy. But I do at night when I go to sleep, I actually refer to myself as Karen, so I say like, Karen, you did great today. Or, I don't know if this is like a method that people use or not, but it works for me. And I think it's important, to evaluate yourself, to, 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 to listen to yourself. This is super important for growth, I think.
Yeah. And as I was telling you, I started this gratitude journal
Yeah.
in 2023, and I encourage everyone to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So helpful. Well, Karen, it has been such a pleasure. I don't want to keep you longer because it's getting late in Dubai, but thank you so much.
I was just looking at the time, like, wow, we spoke
Yeah.
a lot. I have this tendency to overspeak, so I really hope you didn't have a lot more questions that I didn't let you ask.
No, don't worry. It was so interesting, so I prefer to let you speak.
Thank you. And I want everyone who tuned in, thank you so much. بحبكم كتير.
Thank you, everyone. And yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't do it in Arabic, but one day I learn.
Thank you so much.
So, Karen, I hope to see you in Paris very soon.
For sure. And if you come to Dubai as well, you have a friend here now.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye. Ciao.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Ciao.